Whether you like his performance as Peter Parker or Spider-Man in the MCU or not, Tom Holland has been Spider-Man in the most Marvel movies. That of course means that he has had the most Spider-Man suits seen on screen out of all the Spider-Men, and one of his more unique suits, which showed up more prominently in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, is the Iron Spider suit. Despite this suit differing from the comic look, I really like the Tom Holland version as it better incorporates Spidey's iconic red and blue color scheme, but does this suit translate well in figure form since the suit in the movie of course is made of nanobots and this figure will use material that will probably crease to accommodate posing. So we have Hot Toys' newest Iron Spider to look at today, and we want to determine if this figure is necessary for Spider-Man or Marvel collectors. As you all know, all good unboxings start with a box, and this one goes pretty hard as a Spidey figure box. On the outer slipcover, there's a big Iron Spider logo, and I love this with that beautiful blue and gold spider symbol and then the red and black background, and there's even some blood effects on that logo. Up top, there's a reflective chrome Avengers Endgame logo, and this is Iron Spider MMS 761. The sides of the box have a blue stripe with the figure info. The top also has a figure info in red on top of a vibrant blue. Then the bottom states Avengers Endgame in a vibrant red. The back has a bunch more figure info, and for once there's a battery logo on the back here, but not on the front of the box, so yes, finally. Sliding the slipcover off now, or at least attempting to because this cover is actually very tight on there. We can now see the figure inside through that open window. I am very excited. There's another vibrant red Avengers Endgame logo under the window, then the sides are a beautiful vibrant blue and red color with another Tom Holland specific spider symbol in the middle. And the back artwork is gorgeous. I believe this is an image of the figure, but it's shaded in this blue and red that just looks amazing. Then of course we have the figure info down below. Let's slide out the plastic figure tray now, and this is actually two pieces with the figure and accessories on top and then what seems to be the Waldos and webs on the bottom. But of course we need to take the top off the plastic tray housing the figure because I want to touch them. But real quick, if you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell to be notified when new content goes live. Now, let's get into it. And getting them out here to touch them, the suit feels very rubbery with the blue sections feeling textured and the red parts being very smooth. So I am curious how crease resistant it'll be when we pose, but this material, yeah, if it's like other figures, it's known to crease. His spider mask feels like a very hollow plastic, so don't squeeze it too tightly, but it's pretty reflective with a chrome red paint application to give it that illusion of metal. His lenses look pretty good with the texture in the center and then the blue around the edges. His spider logo on the chest is gorgeous, although mine has some blue paint that kind of splattered onto the gold sections, unfortunately. I love that textured blue in the center and then the gold accents separating the body and the legs. It's just really good on top of the smooth red sections with the webbing. His back logo looks great and it's kind of reversed compared to the front. This one is red and looks amazing on top of the textured blue. His arms are gorgeous with that mix of shiny red, darker blue, and then that shiny gold. Then his gauntlets or web shooters are sculpted beautifully. His legs are mostly the textured blue, but are broken up by some black lines here and there. And the worst part though, is a very apparent stitching on the inside of the legs, which can also be seen on the inside of the arms. It's a bit of an eyesore once you notice it, but I'd rather than put the stitching on the inside of the legs and the arms than the outside, of course, so yeah, I'll let it slide. His spider boots, maybe. This is all nanotech, so not really boots, but basically the red foot area looks really good. These are mostly red to contrast some mostly blue legs, then the bottom tread looks pretty good as well. Overall, they did a really good job with the shiny chrome colors on the suit to give that illusion of a shiny metal, though of course, we know it's not on the figure. And the proportions also look very good, and I definitely want to compare it to some of the older Spidey figures. The back of his right foot has a cover piece that we can remove to access the plug so we can light this figure up, and I am so happy they're using a plug instead of button cell batteries for this figure. If we pop his head off now and shoot, do this a little bit more carefully than me because you might damage the plug. I didn't mean to yank it like that, but yeah, we can see that plug that's used to connect the mask to the suit, so only one cable is needed to plug into the foot to light up the whole figure. We'll test out and hope this still works later on. Popping off the hands, we can see the lights underneath here to light up these, and overall, I'm impressed that they got this whole suit to light up with just that one cable, but I just hope they didn't sacrifice articulation to do so. Now for the accessories, starting with the head sculpt. This is the best Tom Holland head sculpt I have in my collection. This is just outstanding. I see Tom Holland from every angle. He's all bruised and bloody, and I will probably end up posing him with it on in my collection because I just absolutely love this. I wasn't sure if I would want to use the head sculpt on the figure, so I opted for the sculpted hair version over the artisan, and honestly, I don't really regret that, although I do really like the head sculpt. Hot Toy sculpted hair is next level and looks absolutely stunning on this head sculpt. It's super detailed and the sculpt work is just phenomenal. Of course though, I still haven't received a single artisan figure yet, so I don't know how good that hair is. But for this one, I don't think you need to get an artisan one, especially if you want to put the mask on him anyway. But of course, the artisan does look pretty good from what I've seen online. He gets a rolling eyeball feature with some pegs in there that you can just move around until you're satisfied with the eye positioning. Then you can just pop the head sculpt back on the body, and yeah, this looks amazing. I am so happy that they opted for a skin tone neck this time because it looks so much better than the other Tom Holland Spideys I have where the suit just goes up to his face and there's no neck. But of course, I'll take out one of those suits and compare them in the comparison section. Let's look at the hands. Out of the box, he gets a pair of closed fists, which have a hole through them to double as the web holding or swinging hands. Then he gets a pair of web whipping hands. These hands are all detailed very well with the shiny chrome red coloring and even white circles on the hands, which I believe will light up, but it reminds me a little bit of the center of Iron Man hands, which is pretty cool. The webbing is sculpted into the hands, and there's a very hard to see nanotech detail on the paintwork if you look very closely. We also get a pair of swap out palm pieces for his whipping hands, so the webs can just be inserted right into them. The palms just pop off of the whipping hands, and we can just put the palms with the holes into these hands so we can test it out with the webs later on. He also gets a pair of open palm style hands with the fingers kind of tensed up a little bit. Then another pair of open hands, which may be web crawling or landing hands because his fingers are kind of curled up and a little bit even like they're pushed against something. Then he gets a pair of fingers curled in gripping style hands. Now for the final hand he comes with, and of course, it's the damaged nano gauntlet. This is absolutely beautiful. It's completely dented and scratched up everywhere. And the metal-like paint applications here are a little bit more satin compared to Spidey's shiny chrome hands, so it matches a bit more with the Endgame Iron Man. The hand part and fingers have some articulations in case you want to rotate it or curl up the fingers for whatever pose you're going for. Then the gauntlet opens up to a battery compartment. I just put the batteries in there and it lights up the Infinity Stones. It's a little hard to see on camera, but each one lights up the proper color and I kind of love how this looks. However, I probably won't ever use it because of course it runs on batteries and it's not a plug-in, but for an accessory like this, a plug-in might not make sense because he's going to be like holding it or it's going to be sitting somewhere. Let's check out his swap out lenses now, and to swap them out, we need to pop the faceplate off the mask. Mine was on there pretty tight, but once you work it off the pegs, you should see the LED that the head actually uses to light up the eyes. You can then just push out the eye lenses from the inside of the face mask and they'll just pop out. Then we can just swap in the first lenses, which look black, but they're not. We need to light up later to see that these are actually the instant kill lenses, which should light up red. Then the next lenses may be my favorite of the bunch since they're a little smaller than the ones that were on them at first. So with these ones, he looks a little less shocked and just more neutral. The next lenses are more squinted or angry, and I just don't really like how they look. Then the last lenses are the blue ones, and I'll leave these on there for now for when we pop the faceplate back on there because of course we're going to be lining up the figure later and we can actually see how it lights up blue. Speaking of which, let's just get out the junction box. This is just a basic USB-C one that Hot Toys gives to their Star Wars figures or most figures in general that use light up features. If we pop the cover off the foot, we could just plug the junction box into the figure now. Once he's lit up, man, he looks insanely good even with the lights on. Decreasing the lights now, we can see the white lights all around his suit and the legs, the torso, the shoulders, and even those web shooters. Then the eyes we left on there are actually lighting up blue, which is really cool. It looks like Hot Toys just use a white LED behind these lenses, so when the LED shines through, it either lights up white, blue, or red. But now we can put the red lenses back on there for the instant kill mode, and yeah, I kind of love this. I wish I could light up my figure to have him in this mode, but unfortunately, if you don't use the light ups, these lenses make zero sense because they just look kind of blank. But the white lenses that I plan on using with the mask, if I use the mask in my display, look amazing lit up. Now for the base. This is basically a big crater on the battlefield from the end fight of Endgame, but the detail on it is incredible. The sculpt work on the rocks looks great, but the paintwork makes this base pop as it emphasizes the sharper portions of the rocks and then a lighter brown near the center. Then one of these rocks actually comes off because the junction box can be attached to the bottom of the base, which is an incredible detail and convenience. So you can actually slide some of the cable into the base, and then you slot the junction box into that cutout down there on the bottom of the base and just route the cable up kind of through the little channels there right behind the rock that we removed. Then you can slide the rock back into place and now the plug is free, so you just plug into his foot or whatever you want to do. And that is that's just really cool. But you can even route the cable inside of the rock, so if you don't want to use it but want to have the convenience of having it there for later on, you can just kind of put it in there and then put the rock back in place, and yeah, the cable's just right inside. I don't use light up features for Hot Toys in my display at the moment, but like I said, this is an outstanding feature for the base, and I hope to see more innovations like this on more upcoming figures. We also get a flight pole and waist clamp. There's a little rock that you just pop out of the base, and then the flight pole can just screw in, and man, I am so excited to pose them, but of course, we still have quite a bit to look at first. We also get Thor's hammer, or Jonathan, if you know, you know. This is from the scene where Cap actually throws Thor's hammer, and then Spidey connects his web to it, and he just goes flying across the battlefield, and I am very excited to test out that pose. We can finally look at the bottom tray now, and this holds his webs and Waldo's. The first web we have to pull out is for that Thor's hammer pose. You could just stick the handle in one end, and then the other end is going to be held by his web holding hands, and yeah, I keep saying it, but I am so excited to use this in the pose. The next web is just that kind of pointed tipped shooting web, and this one can just peg into the web whipping hand, and that looks excellent. We also get a similar rounded tip version of this web. We get the tri-web, since apparently the Spider-Man 2 game webs have become standard for all their Spidey figures. A straight, more rigid looking swinging web. The curved web that you could use for swinging or holding or whatever you want to do. Then we also get that spiral web that I always love. Now for the Waldos, and to attach these we actually get a magnetic back piece this time, which is pretty awesome, but we'll have to see if this causes suit damage. We get the 4 Waldos, and these look pretty fantastic. The ends are sharp, and I love the shiny gold paint applications on them. The inner portions where the joints are is done in a darker blue, and of course, these Waldos articulate in multiple places. These can then just peg into the magnetic back piece, and I put all 4 of them in, and this magnet, it's very strong because it doesn't even shake loose. Like, look at that. Having all the arms on them now looks insanely good, but man, I don't know. I'll have to see if I have the space for it, but at the moment, I kind of love how this looks. And now taking the magnetic back piece off real quick. Of course, it wasn't on there for too long, but the suit seems to have survived, and hopefully it'll survive long term in the collection. Let's look at his articulation now, and since this is a Spider-Man figure, I'm expecting it to be pretty good. And also for this section, I want to start calling out the angles that Hot Toys notes in the instructions and just kind of attempt it on screen while I note it. The head with some mask on it has a ton of movement despite having that wire inside. The head sculpt then has very minimal movement. The arms can move out about 120 degrees. They move forward about 120 degrees as well. Then the elbows bend up to 110 degrees, and there's a little bit of swivel in the upper bicep. His legs move out to about 80 degrees, forward 80 degrees, and then the knees bend up to 140 degrees. There's also some swivel at the upper thigh. His feet unfortunately have very minimal side to side tilt, but it does have quite a bit forward and back movement. He has quite a bit of ab crunch forward and then backwards, and then just a decent amount of twist in there. Now let's do some comparisons. To start, I put the Iron Spider next to the closest suit to this one in my collection, the integrated suit from No Way Home, and as expected, these two look very similar, but also very different. In the movie, the integrated suit was created when Doc Ock put the nanotech onto the red and black suit that Peter made in Far From Home, so the Spider logos here are very similar, and honestly, I was debating on moving the integrated suit out of my collection once the Iron Spider came in, but man, I think I still love this suit, especially seeing it next to the Iron Spider. Maybe we'll get a 2.0 version in the future, and of course we're getting a brand new suit in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to move on from this suit yet. I love No Way Home, and I love the look of this suit, so yeah, being a Spidey collector, I probably need to hold on to it. But now, just comparing the head sculpts, we can see that the Tom Holland integrated suit head sculpt is a little rough, mostly because it's a little bit older and there's no skin tone neck. Hot Toys, they always need to give their figures skin tone necks if they're going to have like a removable helmet with a head sculpt or something, because it just looks awful. The hair and skin texture, of course, is a little less detailed, but I am definitely just going to leave the mask on this suit. But the Iron Spider-Man, I really love the Tom Holland head sculpt on it, so I may just leave it like that in my collection. Of course, I had to put the Iron Spider next to Endgame Iron Man. Most of them are just rocking their nano gauntlets, and these suits just complement each other perfectly. Of course, it would also be cool if the Iron Spider-Man suit was battle damaged, but I kind of really like that clean look because it just shines. Now, I just had to bust out the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 1 figure, and I love that suit. These two figures look awesome next to each other, and man, I just love Spider-Man so much. Now, as a little bonus, I just put the yellow and blue suit Wolverine next to Iron Spider, and the vibrant colors here really, they just look really good together. I think I may need to rearrange my Iron Man shelf to fit this Iron Spider in there with my Endgame figures, Rescue, and then Iron Man, of course. But there's just something about this pairing with Wolverine that's pretty sick. Maybe Avengers Doomsday or something in the future we'll actually see them team up, because I think this looks pretty cool. Now is time to pose. For the first pose, since I was super excited for it, I just have him doing the hanging on to Jonathan while holding the Nano Gauntlet pose. This looks amazing, and I really want to display him like this if I have the room, but maybe I need to put the Waldos away because they're just pretty huge. But for Iron Spider, they're just part of the look and they're meant to be on him, so it's going to be a tough decision, but if I need the room, yeah, they're going to have to go back in the box. For the next pose, I just have Spidey standing there helping Iron Man stay up, and man, this is sick. I wouldn't mind posing him like this in the future if I ever need the space, because this pairing just goes so hard. Of course, Iron Man, he's not doing too great here, but just having Iron Spider holding him up and just having them together near the end of Endgame, oh, it's so good. But I guess it's time to determine if the Iron Spider is a necessary purchase for us Spidey and Marvel collectors. First, let me just knock out the negatives for the figure because they're there, although some of them might be nitpicks. The one big annoyance for me the whole time while working with this figure is that foothole cover. It just continuously falls out, and I will probably lose one these days. I had the same issue with the Chrome Mando's removable earpiece and then the Boba Fett gauntlet cover piece, so I was hoping Hot Toys would, by now at least, figure out how to make the piece actually stay in the figure. But for my Iron Spider at least, it just continues to fall out, and I absolutely hate it. Then another pretty minor annoyance is that for the wrist pegs, there's no tilt since the peg has a light inside it, so it's fine, but if you want it for posing, just know that you can't actually tilt the hands. And also just know, because when I was doing the posing section, this suit material will crease if left in some dynamic poses for a while, or if you use the waist clamp. Then I guess if I want to continue to nitpick, the removable faceplate seam line is pretty visible from the side, and the same can be said for that inner stitching, although it is all pretty well hidden. Technically, it's nanotech, so it shouldn't have any creasing or seam lines anywhere, but of course it's a figure and a very good looking one, so I'll let it slide. This figure is phenomenal. So yeah, I just had to nitpick a little bit because I want to make sure that you're aware of some of the annoyances, especially if it's a figure you're going to spend your hard-earned money on. But for me, I don't regret this purchase at all. I love collecting Spider-Man figures, and this suit is a necessary one as I grew up watching the MCU and seeing this suit in Infinity War and then Endgame just makes it iconic. Sure, it was made by Iron Man, and sure, it looks different than how it did in the comics, but it's just an awesome suit with an awesome background. Hot Toys absolutely nailed it because those vibrant, shiny colors they used on the suit just gives it a very convincing metal-like appearance. Then that head sculpt, man. Oh, that head sculpt's insanely good. I am super excited to see what we get from Spider-Man Brand New Day, but this Battle Damage head sculpt has the best Tom Holland likeness that I've seen and I have in my collection. Of course, Hot Toys has improved their sculpt work and skin texture and even the hair quite a bit, but for me, the one thing that makes this one the best Tom Holland head sculpt is their use of that skin tone neck. It just blends perfectly into the figure. Plus, Hot Toys, they have the integrated light up feature on this suit, so I don't have to suffer using batteries, and that's just, oh, that innovation is perfection. The accessories are cool as well, but for me, the suit is what makes this figure, but getting Thor's hammer is pretty cool. And sure, Battle Damage would have been cool to see on this suit since his face is all messed up, and of course in Endgame it was pretty damaged. But even though you guys know I'm a big fan of Battle Damage, I actually really like the clean look to this suit because it just allows it to shine. So if you're a fan of Tom Holland's Spidey or Spider-Man in general, or you're filling out your Avengers shelf, I believe that you just found the next figure that you need. But let's talk about Iron Spider down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like and hit subscribe for much more content like this. Check out another figure review in the playlist that'll pop up, maybe the Amazing Spider-Man review, or check out the collection tour to see how my collection journey is going. As always, thank you to the channel members. I look forward to talking to you all again very soon, but until next time, stay 6 scale.